I've got them at 8 wins. I thought going in before, like actually seeing how the schedule lined up, which, by the way, diff of 1, +1, because I originally thought that this is a 7-10 football team. Now that we've done the schedule and seen how it lays out, I give them one more win. I think they're 8-9. Okay, and that is a very good step forward in Todd Monken returns for 2027. And the way this thing the way this thing lays out, I don't think 10 wins is completely bonkers.
No, I mean, I wouldn't lay it out that way. I think there's multiple games that both of us picked. I mean, we obviously differed on a handful of games. I think there's a handful of these games that you kind of view as toss-ups. Like, I think the Saints are kind of in that toss-up range.
I got the Steelers Thursday nighter as a toss-up. I got the Ravens game October 18th as a toss-up. I've got the Titans game a toss-up. Steelers game number 2 in Pittsburgh a toss-up. The Giants game, a little bit of a toss-up, although you kind of talked me out of that because of Harbaugh. And I think that the Week 18 game against the Bengals, even though I have them as a loss, I do think that's a toss-up. So that gives you 6 toss-ups there on the schedule, and I have them at 8 wins, right? So, 9-8 wouldn't be completely bonkers. And if they go 10-7, I got to buy Nick Wilson a burger.
I would imagine you would have to. 10-7 is probably good enough for a playoff spot in the AFC. I mean, listen, and that's always the point. Michael, I saw you tweeted out earlier. Like, I mean, you take a look at some of these games, and we're predicting Week 14 games. Then all of a sudden, Christmas Day last year, who was it? It was Chris.
Yeah. Well, I said I thought the NFL did really well with the original schedule for Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. But then we said the same thing last year, and then we were watching Chris Oladukin and Max Brosmer on Christmas Day. So let's get to that point first and see who's healthy before we jump the gun. But the matchups on paper are very, very tasty.
Yeah, they're really nice, but that's my point. Is like you get later in the season, you don't know what quarterback you're watching. That might be the difference of you gain an extra win somewhere, or in your own case, who knows? By Week 14, Taylor Green might have to step onto the field, and you might be losing a game due to that. Like,
God,
it's obviously
if we see him this year, oh my God.
Yeah, we're going to be in trouble. That would be the level of trouble.
I don't even want to contemplate that. That's nothing against Taylor Green. Nothing personal.
It's a developmental quarterback.
It just means that things have gone horrifically awful again at the quarterback position if we end up seeing him this year.
Now, Daryl, every team puts out their kind of fun schedule release video, some of them more fun than others. We're going to talk about that later on in the night.
Yes, because I'm dying to know if a certain reference got made by any team. And sources tell me, yes, indeed it was. Go ahead.
Yes, it did. Very sly, very sly. I recommend you go watch the Chargers video if you're in the loop on that one. Just maybe when they pay attention and play the Patriots, just keep close eye. But the Browns had their video. It was a Street Fighter edition, Street Fighter CLE, and it was a little fun. I don't think it ranks in like the top of them for me. It wasn't by far the worst one that I've seen just scrolling through Twitter right now. So
that's kind of how I gauge this stuff is like, I've seen worse.
Yeah, which is perfectly fine, by the way. If you don't put out at least the worst one in the cycle and you fall somewhere in the middle where you're not in the conversation, good on you. You stayed out of the conversation of it. If you put out the best one, great. You get a nice pat on the back, and that's about as far as it goes. I got to see if
the Titans did the street survey again.
I didn't see I didn't get to see the Titans one. I didn't see that one pop up, so I don't know what they did. But we're gonna have to keep an eye.
There have been some but that's among one of the greatest of all time. Their street survey of all the people that didn't know any of their opponents who they were.
It's really good. But the Browns did put out theirs, and Daryl, without fail. You could have just not mentioned a quarterback, but the Browns decided to mention a quarterback, and the one they mentioned was Shedeur Sanders. He popped up in that video not once, but multiple times did Shedeur come up in that video. Are you reading into this at all? Like, does this mean anything to you to see Shedeur kind of in the video? Obviously, Todd Monken's not the guy making it. He's not telling them go put Shedeur in the video, so I don't think it tells us who the starter is.
Right.
But is there anything to take away from this, or is this just Shedeur's the name that he is, brings the gravity that he does, so why not throw him in the video?
Well, it's May 14th, and we have nothing to talk about, so hell yeah, I'm going to read into it. Who did they not mention in the video that's in that room?
Shocker, Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
I don't think they mentioned Taylor Green either, or Dylan Gabriel, if I'm not mistaken, but probably not a bad choice.
I thought for sure they were going to make Dylan Gabriel like one of those helpful elves in the game.
He just goes through and just runs across the screen holding one of the opponents.
And then he throws the coin, and the coin is way off target.
Would be good. So what are you reading out of this? What is it that we're taking away from this? Because I don't know that I read into this super much.
I don't. I mean, the conspiracy theorist in me reads into it like the Brown, and I mean that I do mean this like in the best possible way. Okay, the Browns are extremely thoughtful about what they put out there on their social channels. Okay, and they don't make mistakes with what they put out there. Okay. So it's really hard for me not to read something into that they promoted or mentioned Shedeur Sanders in this video, but they didn't mention Deshaun Watson. Now, part of it, I think we know what part of it is, right? One kid's marketable, the other one not so much. But like, it's not lost on me. I don't think that really influences anything that Todd Monken is thinking or what he's going to do or anything. But like, it's really hard not to try and read something into that he is the quarterback that gets the feature in the team video. I don't think that was done by accident. Again, everything they do is thought out. It's you know what I mean. There's a purpose behind it, and if maybe I am giving them too much credit, and if I am, I'll admit it. But like, what was the first thing that I said to you when I watched the video?
You immediately pointed out the fact that Shador Sanders is in it. It was the first thing that caught your eye. Beyond it, you watched about the first 30 seconds of it, and you were like, "Oh, this is interesting." Then you got, and Shador's in it. Like maybe it tells you a little bit about what the organization, their lean, and what they would want.
Well, now, of course, because he'll sell the jerseys. You know, he's got the national fan base, right? They're very passionate, whether depending on what side of the fence you're on with Shedeur, right? They're a very passionate fan base for him. So, and he's marketable. He is marketable.
And I mean, not to mention, he's also, we've had the conversation a million times. If you want a quarterback of the future, you're obviously turning to Shedeur before you're turning to Deshaun.
Well, look, I've been very, very clear that I feel like there is more to be gained for the Cleveland Browns to playing Shedeur Sanders than Deshaun Watson. I see no upside to playing Deshaun. I see no benefit to playing Deshaun other than you guys work yourself into a sticky wicket.
Yep.
I think that there's everything to gain by starting Shedeur and giving him a chance from day one to see if he can do this. And look, if he can't do it, if he falls flat on his face, then boom, you have your answer. And that's what, I mean, yes, winning games is important. Okay, for anyone that thinks that this organization is trying to position themselves for the 27 NFL draft has not been paying attention to what Andrew Berry's been doing, okay? They are going to try and win games. Now, whether or not they're good enough to do that, we're going to find out this fall. I frankly feel like they're going to win 8 games. I think they're good enough to win 8 games this fall, which is, for them, a tremendous step forward in the positive direction, okay? But I don't see any benefit to starting Deshaun. And I stand by that. That's not me personally attacking Deshaun and making it's just organizationally, they are better off starting Shedeur and seeing whether or not this kid can do this thing. Okay? Because then there's no excuses. It's all on Shedeur. Shedeur can't complain sabotage. They just rebuilt the entire offensive line, added 2 rookie wide receivers in the first 2 rounds of the draft. It's not like you gave them 5th and 6th round wide receivers in the room. You spent a 1st round pick, 24th overall on Casey Concepcion. You spent your 1st, 2nd round pick on Denzel Boston. Okay? So you can't complete.
And by the way, got rid of the coach who might have had a preconceived notion about what you were as a quarterback.
Whatever. The whole sabotaging narrative that has hovered over this whole situation with Shedeur in Cleveland, that is hot garbage. I still believe it. And it's even more so hot garbage now following the coaching change and following the personnel moves that Andrew Berry made this offseason. So let's find out if this kid can do it. And the fact that they put him in his video is kind of hard to miss. Sorry.
It's hard to miss. Now, I will push back. The Minnesota Vikings, I caught a brief portion of their video. One quarterback was mentioned. We know they're in a quarterback battle. J.J. McCarthy, Kyler Murray. They put a quarterback in there, Max Brosmer.
Wait, what?
He was sitting at the table. They did like a little menu, like 17-course meal type of thing.
Wait a minute, who's he?
He was the backup last year who played after Carson Wentz got hurt.
Okay, so the fact that I have to ask you who he is and you had to give me an explanation tells you all you need to know.
Well, I mean, they could have put Dylan Gabriel in the video. That would have solved everything. Nobody thinks they're starting Dylan Gabriel. They'd have been like, well, they just wanted to put somebody in the video. Dylan was available, and that was that.